Welcome to the Collaborative Resource Hub by Wellness Provisions. Our mission is to bridge the gap between mental health, wellness, and music, specifically rock and roll. I'm Amy McBride, owner of Wellness Provisions, the most badass wellness business. Wellness Provisions supplies rock and rollers with high-quality supplements. We give you a trustworthy place to go where you can essentially shop blindfolded. Our wellness kits were created out of a need to simplify your shopping experience and make it stress-free. You'll get the most effective nutrients in the least amount of bottles with the least trial and error. Visit the Collaborative Resource Hub for helpful resources that can nudge you in the right direction when you're ready to incorporate some wellness into your life. My goal is to facilitate inspiration. You don't have to feel alone. I know that's easier said than done, but if that guy did it, so can you. Let's inspire each other. Last but not least, my legal disclaimer: nothing in this interview or the Collaborative Resource Hub substitutes medical advice. Please connect with your GP if you need medical guidance. Today we're chatting with Ali Epstone of Slowride in our musician interview series. This man has made massive changes in his life after struggling with his own mental health and substance abuse. He lives in England and he is the singer of a new band called Slowride who defy genre pigeonholing. He also teaches other people meditation and how to transform their own lives through his business, MindWave Meditation. And now on to the interview.
Oh, sorry, I'm just pouring tea. That's allowed, right?
Yeah, drink your tea. Ali, thank you very much for being with us today and sharing your experiences. So what band do you play with now?
I play in a band called Slowride, and we have yet to appear out into the world with our recordings. So we are brand new, and you know, I probably know about as much about that band as you do.
Well, so if you had to describe your band to someone who hasn't heard it, which would be pretty much everybody, how would you describe it?
That's the part I'm having trouble with myself. I honestly, we've been trying to kind of like, you know, figure out the niche, put it in a box, because we've got to put everything in a box before we put it on Spotify and all that.
But see, that's why, and that's what I'm doing with this, the term rock and roll. It just pretty much sums up like a lot of things. Could you?
Yeah, it kind of cuts out like the people who are like into maybe pure straight classical music, you know, so they come across like a podcast like this and they're just like, oh.
What you could say is like, it is
kill them all. Kill them all.
It is not country. It is not, just label what it's not, and then they can figure out from there what it might be.
But I think it's basically kind of, I don't want to say it. I think that's the problem. I think I still am having problems with dealing what it is. And I think it's kind of like dance pop rock, which my 15-year-old self would just be like, what did you say?
Times are changing, man. Embrace it.
Yeah, I think so. It feels good, and it's different to the straight up rock stuff that I've always done. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's lighter.
Yeah.
Cool.
For now.
See, and it can just keep morphing. What other groups have you played with?
I have played with lots of groups. The last one was called Black Surf, and we were kind of like straight up punky pop rock. See, when I say the genres, it makes even me go, ugh. Because I don't listen to pop rock or dance pop rock. But yeah, that was more guitar based, let's say.
Okay.
And so, you know, we could play amongst a million different types of bands in that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I've always had my acoustic thing that has always been on the shelf because I've always put the band first. So that's always there kind of in the arsenal. And then before that, I was in a heavy metal band. Some of my closer friends would argue it was new metal.
Okay.
But I'd like to say progressive metal. It was so yeah, it's like up here has been a whole mix of just like lots of different genres, which is just always super exciting. So
yeah, that's cool though. So you have a business now called MindWave Meditation that's pretty amazing. Can you briefly share what MindWave is about?
I can, and I will.
Thank you.
It is no worries. And a great question. Have you heard it when people say that on interviews? Oh, it's a really great
Great
question.
question. And like
Yeah.
every question's a great question. So please.
Yeah, but then the interviewers never say anything. They just go, you know,
I know.
I wish that one time they'd just go, thanks, you know, I really worked hard on that one. MindWave meditation. It was, I guess I always just encouraged people, like, you know, I was like kind of a natural cheerleader, just kind of like, hey man, it's going to be cool, you know, like that kind of like, hey, you know what, I've been reading some stuff, I'll show you, like, just give me, you know, that guy. And then I kind of slowly figured out that I could kind of create a business around that, so I wouldn't have to keep on doing crappy jobs. So that's been the whole plan. And then through that, I've helped lots and lots of people, which has been the rewarding side of it. And I just kind of started creating like courses and audios, and it's kind of a self-development hub
Okay.
where people can kind of come in no matter what level they're at, whether they're basic meditation or advanced meditation, or they just need to know some direction in life. And then I just kind of guide them. I guess I'm a guide. I'm a kind of a transformational guide or coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah.
So
I'm not a life coach. I don't do the term life coach.
It's on the record.
It makes me shiver deep inside. But no, yeah, that's the kind of it's a hub.
You are a compassionate, encouraging person that helps people out.
Yeah, you can say that as a job title.
Yeah, it's long, but it works.
That's the full title.
Yeah. With the plaque on your desk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the things that you teach and, you know, put out there through MindWave are things that you kind of brought into your own world because of what experiences? What's your background? What's your past self that has contributed, you know, to who you are today and what you're doing?
Excellent question.
Thank you.
No worries. See, that's how it should go every time. Okay, so yeah, so where do we start there? I guess going through my teenage years, like everybody, it's just a whole big,
Yeah.
you don't know yourself. You're kind of growing into yourself, especially in music as well, playing in bands and being in that kind of culture, which is like pubs, bars. You know, one of my last gigs in one of my older bands, we got paid in like a bottle of vodka, a bottle of Jägermeister, we had like all these bottles, like 2 stacks crates of beer, and then pizza, you know, like to kind of, hey, oh, there's pizza too. And we were just over the moon. Like we traveled all the way down to wherever, we got all this booze, we share it with the people in the crowd, we had a great night. But then that happens every single night. And it's like, you know, when you're in your early 20s, there's just nothing better. It's absolutely amazing. But the more this is just my experience, the more I and my friends dived into that lifestyle, we've kind of found that we got further and further away of figuring out who we were as people, because we're just all together, we live together, we write music together, drink together, do drugs together, whatever. And then kind of through that, as we kind of grew out of our late 20s, all the cracks started appearing in everybody's lives. It was just like, oh, he's got a full-blown addiction, oh, he's got a different addiction, oh, you know, it's just
Yeah.
And that can just be typical band life if you're playing rock music specifically, or punk, or, you know, heavy metal. And when you're in it, you don't really notice it. But it's not until you see your friends grow up and have like houses and, you know, all this stuff that you're like, oh, okay, maybe I've just been in this bubble of craziness. But I wouldn't change a thing, because through all of that, I felt like I got out before the car hit the wall type thing.
Was there a time when you sort of realized you needed to be your own priority, otherwise, you know, you weren't going to make it? Was there like a moment, or was it?
Yeah, there's several. There's several moments several red flags that I missed. Oh man, like waking up and just being, I mean, I could be a bit gross here. I don't know
Oh,
how,
you
like,
can be gross, you can curse. I don't
yeah,
give
are you
a
like,
fuck.
oh yeah, I encourage that. Yeah, yeah. Just
Yeah.
little things like, and I don't remember a lot of my stories. And I don't want to glorify it either, because I do laugh now, because it's just like, it's almost like a cringe laugh. But I don't want it to come across as like, oh, cool, yeah, party. Because a little part of me still feels like that. But ultimately, the amount of pain and suffering that came from it all, it's like, eh.
Yeah.
So, but, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and just be sick all over my wife, or like my girlfriend at the time. And just go back to bed, just not know. I'd wake up
Seriously?
and like I urinate in the fridge. No idea, all these things like we've all, and I don't want to. My story was no different to my bandmates either, or our friends. It's like all of
Yeah.
us. We've all got these ridiculous stories,
Yeah.
but I think the band life, it was almost condensed because it was just happening a lot. So I had a few wake up calls, and just to be totally honest, like my wife, girlfriend at the time, was just like, oh yeah, you've got to sort this out or you're done. And like, I think that came because my teeth were crumbling, my hair was thinning, the yellow eyes, like I was having like just sweating profusely every night and having like debilitating panic attacks and anxiety, which was undiagnosed and I didn't know what it was. And I was an alcoholic on top of that. And then any of the drugs or whatever was just like, yeah, why not? Let's add to the fire. I couldn't go anywhere without being inebriated. And I think the first realization was that I realized that I'd never been sober or clear from when I was like 14. So I'd never really experienced adulthood without being inebriated, like, because it's every day and that's just normal for, again, like my friends and
Yeah.
mates and stuff. So that really like shook me up. I was like, oh, hang on a second. I've never really been an adult.
Did it scare you? Like, did you have fear to think about, having to, well, but if you were having anxiety and stuff, was that still coming on if you were inebriated or in like the periods where you started to sober up?
That's the downward spiral, because that's why you drink the booze, because it numbs you and then the panic attacks go away and you go, oh, well, I'll just keep drinking the booze. And I was trying to go out on a blaze of glory anyway. I was just like, this is not going well. I don't know what this is. I thought I had a brain something or other or whatever. I didn't tell anybody, and I was like blacking out and all this sort of stuff. So I was just like, I'm just going to go hard, not tell anyone, be the happy smiley guy, and just go out. And then I think I didn't die basically. And that was really, and then I started to take notice of that. I was like, okay, I'm still not, I'm getting worse, but I'm still here.
Yeah.
And I think all the stuff I'd learned when I was 15 about meditation and Ram Dass and all these different amazing spiritual leaders, it all just started to kind of come up to the surface, like almost like little, hey, yeah? Little winks here and there.
Notice me.
Yeah, like I'd start to notice those books on the bookshelf that I'd maybe just kind of glanced through, or it's just gone over my head. And I just kind of started diving into it all, and then it just kind of went like that. But that was like 10 years.
Yeah. Oh, over the course of 10 years for it to really start clicking and becoming part of the front of your brain.
Yeah, 2011 was when I decided to sort my shit out. And then it wasn't until 2014, 15 when I started making progress. And all that was just yo-yo of trying and failing.
So
what
were some of the things that you tried? Like what tactics ended up, becoming part of your arsenal that really helped?
I think just before that, I just kind of remembered, like, when I knew it myself and I'd had that conversation with myself, I told my bandmates, like, while we're on tour in China or whatever, I was like, oh, I'm an alcoholic and like, I can't do this without drinking and just crying and stuff. I'd never been one to cry ever in front of anyone. So they, but their response was like, yeah, we all are. Like, so, you know, we didn't know how, we didn't have the tools to talk. It
Yeah.
wasn't like now, like, you know, no way would we talk about this stuff. It's just like, shut up, you know.
But I think even
But
still, like, even given now, there's still, you know, if you can have an odd man out in a group who wants to clean up his life, and then the rest of the band is like doing coke, and it's like, well, come fucking party with us. So, you know.
happens all the time. I've seen it in friends' bands. One goes sober, the
Mhm.
other guys kind of like see that as like as a threat as well. Because let's face it, you go sober and you're in a band that isn't sober, you're kind of the odd boring guy. And then also, you know, so they'll gather in other groups, and it's just, it's, you know, it's, you know, it's crazy. So I kind of spoke out, and then that was kind of a long thing, and then that didn't really work out. But I'd spoken it to myself, and then I just took myself out of the situation. The band broke up all in a mutual way. We all just wanted to do different things. And I went to Australia for a year just to kind of clean up. And I don't think I could have done that if I was around just all my regular friends and still working in a pub,
Yeah.
getting people drunk.
Yeah. So you took yourself
Um,
out of the situation.
yeah, I think I knew myself well enough at that point to know that I wouldn't be able to cheat my way out of it. Like, I knew that I wouldn't be able to just kind of go, oh, it's going to be fine. Like, I think I knew that I needed some help. And because of the stubborn way I am, I was like, I'm not going to go AA because screw those guys. You know, it was like, I'm going to do this on my own. And if it's brutal, then, you know, even better, because it felt like an extreme thing. So, you know, I've always liked the extreme things, you know, just whatever it is. So I thought being sober and doing like hardcore retreats and like intensive juicing, that was like hardcore to me, which was really exciting as well. It was something to look forward to, like extreme health. And you know, and it started on a slippery slope. I was a big meat eater, and look, I'm totally, if people eat meat, cool, vegan, whatever, I'm across the board. Like, do what you got to do. If you enjoy it, just don't preach it, you
Right.
know, don't be that person. That's my only kind of rule with that. And so I'll be really careful on the next things I say. But I just started cutting out stuff out of my diet, and that was like a long slippery slope of trying different things, from like eating constant meat down to veggie, down to pescatarian, down to raw, then juices. And then, you know, you have the water fast people. They come out of the woodwork at that point going, come and do a water fast. And you're like, whoa.
One?
Huh?
Did you do a water fast?
No, I didn't. But I'm totally for it if you do it in the right space for the right reasons. And, you know, just as a kind of a cleanse. None of these things are good for kind of like a general lifestyle. But
Right. Just drinking water isn't really
but
sustainable. Have you done
yeah,
the master cleanse before?
say again.
Have you done the master cleanse before?
What's the master cleanse?
That's the one with lemon and maple syrup and cayenne.
Oh, yeah. So, like, I mean, when I used to travel, like, from London to Leeds to go to band practice and stuff, I used to have, like, a lemon in my bag. I used to have, like, a little, like, health kit, which essentially was, like, my sort of version of what you're doing, you know? And which is so, you know, I had my little compartments, a bit of bicarb, a bit of pink Himalayan rock salt, you know, while I was learning all this stuff,
Yeah.
you know. So that kind of came my little toolkit that I always had. And like, so I guess that I've always just been going hardcore with the bad food and then bringing in the cleanse stuff at the same time. And it naturally just kind of went like that. And then balance, that's where I'm at now. Just like balance, man.
What balances you? What stuff do you incorporate now?
I just generally watch what I'm consuming and how it makes me feel afterwards.
Just food or like other
Everything. Yeah, like yeah, I don't want this whole thing to be like a big like, oh, I used to be this guy. Like I think of that Bill Hicks sketch. It's like, who brought Doctor Doom? Get him out of here! It's bumming me out. I don't want to be that guy, but it's yeah, I guess I wouldn't, all of that needed to happen for me to experience all this stuff. And like MindWave, like it wouldn't exist if I hadn't had this like 10-15 years of like,
Yeah.
and I untangled every single part of it. Like all of this, figured it out, all the old stuff, what I thought about, what I feel about how it feels after I have a coffee or beer or, you know, drugs. You know, it got to a point, it's like, oh, the drugs, they make me feel really bad. I'm going to get rid of all of those and like, you know, keep, you know, not say I'll never do anything again, but just not do it. That's kind of how I like to live. Like there's no rules. I don't have any rules. I just don't do the things that I know don't make me feel good.
So you have like a good like intuitive connection with
stubborn.
yourself?
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm always just working on it. Just like I'm really thankful I'm so stubborn, because I think that's half of it. It's just like I've always got that drive to go, okay, I'll show you know, talking to myself.
But you're like, you know what sets you off. And so like because there's a lot of people who I don't think have that self-awareness of what is triggering them, you know?
And that's the journey. That's the kind of, when you kind of, you know, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that, but I will. It's what some people call the spiritual path. You know, whether you're doing yoga as a practice, meditation, or even just eating a good diet, or just consciously thinking about what you're consuming, you don't have to call it a spiritual path, but you're certainly on a kind of a path of awareness, self-awareness, self-realization, you know. So this is, you start kind of pulling the thread when you start feeling, as you know, what starts to work for you. And then, you know, you go, okay, I'm going to incorporate more of that. And then as you go through it, you know, as you know, you pull off these layers, and it seems to be, you just tune into more levels of awareness. So like I was drinking coffee, you know, well, first of all, mixed with Jack Daniels in a flask where no one knew that it was, you know, a mix, until my old manager said, oh, I'd love a coffee. Can I have a coffee? And I was like, no. And she was like, why? And we had this big back and forth. And then the band were like, come on, man, just give us some coffee. What's the deal? And it was before a gig, you know, and you open it and it's just got that waft of, and that's just because I was reading Keith Richards' book, and it, you know, it just all goes in, and it's just part of the culture. And so anyway, when I got rid of that stuff, I started to realize that the coffee was just making me like ping, and my adrenals were just like out of whack. And at nighttime, I couldn't sleep, and I was thinking all the thoughts. And it's just so simple when you think about it now. If you take each single thing that you're putting into you and take it on its own, you know, if you're lucky enough to go through the process and get rid of everything, process of elimination, and then bring things back in, what a trip that is. Like, have you done much of that?
Did you journal about it, or, you know, kind of keep track like on paper of what you were doing, or just in your head?
Never been one to write the stuff down. No, just, I mean, lucky for me, my wife, like, is just always be, you know, we've been together for like 15 years, and she's just a massive nerd when it comes to kind of like all of this stuff, like what's in all the stuff. And, you know, she keeps quiet behind the scenes. She's not like me, like, ah, you know. And so she's just been amazing with all the information, and just like, okay, we're going to try this. And like, you know, she's just been the one chipping away, like, right, you've still got this symptom. And one by one, all of those symptoms went. And now it's a case of, if you drink coffee, you're going to start talking about yourself. It's like my version of cocaine. It's like, hey man, like, yeah, they're like, let's talk about me.
It's a stimulant.
Yeah, it's just so sensitive. Like I could have like one coffee and the whole day I'm like that. So, you know, it's just knowing yourself. Like, what about you? What's your, like, you know, do you have anything that sends you a bit loopy that you don't do?
No, actually, I'm upset because caffeine doesn't have an effect on me. It's weird. It's kind of weird because I've always been into wellness and supplements. I mean, for like 20 years, but so many of the things don't actually like, I don't notice it when I take it. Like all these stuff for like energy or like I've had some issues sometimes with sleep, but then it's like I'm taking 3 of this one thing, 3 of something else, 2 of something else. And one of my friends, she's like, my God, if I took that, I'd be dead. And I was like, I don't know, it's a great amount for me just to be just peaceful to go to sleep.
Really?
But yeah, I don't know.
I'm kind of like, there was a time when I was, so basically I got off all the stuff, Australia, cleaned up good and proper, um, and look, again, I'm not against anyone that does all that stuff. I'm like, kind of just, as long as you're not having a problem with it, fine by me. Like, absolutely. I think it's all, and that's the tricky subject. You take all of this stuff out of art and music. Do you still have art and music? Not a lot of the good stuff.
Right.
It's a really interesting discussion. I'm not anti anything when it comes to this stuff, and a lot of people might take offense to that as well. I really think it's more about the person, the individual,
Well,
and
that's it.
and their relationship with every, someone was trying to tell me Facebook was like the devil, and I was like, absolutely agree, but if you use it well and wisely, it can be really great. Jump on and off. Don't let it consume your life.
Well, that's it. I mean, if you don't have addictive, like traits, or if you have the ability for like self-control, then
Yeah, but even if you are, I am a very, oh no, pause. In the past, I have been a very addictive person. So therefore, technology, stimulants, just be really conscious when you uh, use any of these things. And like, that's just been the biggest gift for me. To sum it all up is, oh, okay, it's not everything's bad. I need to be that guy. And I was thinking I was going to have to go like full on monk, like I thought that's where this was all heading. And I was like, I don't want to be that guy in this lifetime.
so
If we have more lifetimes, I'll do that next lifetime.
yeah.
This one, I want to make music, have fun with my friends, have a pint with my dad, like, and then the rest of the time just be like, keep this temple or whatever just balanced. That's all I need to really think about in this lifetime, this
Yeah.
lifespan.
Do you do anything on a regular basis, like meditate or any other, I don't know, healing modalities or anything?
Yeah, like loads. So this is the thing, when I quit all the stuff, I quickly replaced it with loads of other good stuff. Now, one could look at that and go, oh, well, you've just shifted your addictions. And I just say, yeah, I have. And I'm still here and I'm smiling every day and thinking happy thoughts the majority of the time, and balancing the negative thoughts and not letting them consume me. And I'm not in these downward spirals. So I've kind of figured it out. Thankfully, in my 30s, that if I meditate every day, I'm generally at peace and I feel rested and I feel in tune with what I'm doing. If I add the yoga, my body feels like that. If I add a bit of qigong, then I'm just super calm, you know. So, and then there's a load of other stuff I do, like healing, energy healing practice, and gratitude, and all of the, get the hippie book out. I'm all over it. But like, I use them more like tools and like spices and a spice rack, rather than being seeing them as like a regimented thing.
Yeah.
So, yet to answer your question, yes, I do all these things, but there's been many occasions when I've traveled or something, or I've gone somewhere, all out the window. I just want to be here now. I'll have the coffee, sleep late, don't do, maybe not meditate. And then it's just a case of coming back from that and going,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you had your fun, now just implement the stuff.
Do you
And
ever
that just,
get do you
yeah,
get
sorry.
hard on yourself if you do stuff like that, or do you just have forgiveness? You know, like it's a coffee. I'm cool because I know it's not going to become like an issue or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, I do, to be honest. Like, it's just like naturally, okay, so today I went out and we had like a matcha, and you know matcha, right? You get that.
Yeah, the green tea.
Yeah, like some people that can make it really nice,
Yeah.
and and it's really calming, but it hits you like a coffee, but without the kind of go 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 go, you know, if you're affected. But then some people make it really strong, and you know, if they make it too strong, I'm like, bah, 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 bah. So maybe this was a strong one. So I mean, so even today I had my little matcha, and I haven't had one for a month, and now I probably won't have another one for 3 weeks or a month. So I'm just really kind of like, for lack of a better word, very anal with all of these things. Like, I just feel like it's how I'm just going to have to look after myself until I
Yeah.
just hit this Zen plateau where I just don't need any of it, and life is meditation or
So
whatever.
what tips or words of wisdom would you give to other rock and rollers
Oh man.
who may be struggling with either mental health or, you know, substance abuse or whatever?
Yeah, nice add on there. I was just thinking, like, I wouldn't say anything. I like, you know, I know what rock and rollers are like. Like, why am I listening to this dude? Um, but yeah, if they were struggling, then absolutely, I would. It's just, I don't know if there's a non-cheesy way of saying this, but like getting to know yourself. Like they call it self-realization, self-actualization, or to be specific, to realize yourself, you know, to observe yourself and see your habits and patterns and the actions and the things that maybe you don't like about yourself that you think you could improve on, and then actualize them, you know, bring that into practice
Mm-hmm.
and test it out and watch yourself change. Get to know yourself and stop lying to yourself, because anyone that is struggling with an addiction or, you know, a naughty habit, um, ultimately you're just kind of lying to yourself and just keeping that stuff down. And now's the time with people talking and being so open, and like, we never would have seen this coming, would we?
Right.
Like when we're at school, like different world. So it's so easy to talk, and like you can, you know, like I said, talking to bandmates at that time was just like, shut up, you know, glug, glug, glug. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. It's just, I don't know. I'm having these like thoughts where I feel like I'm dying, but I'll forget about that for now, you know. Um, yeah, because there's just so much help available. And like, that's why I do what I do. It's why you do what you do. So we can and why we're doing this, I guess,
Yeah.
is we can just kind of make it less of a stigma to kind of like, you know, I mean, I put a video on Facebook, and a drummer that I've known for years who was in bands that we played with, she was like, oh, thanks so much for saying this. I had the think I'm gonna die panic attacks too, and you know, it was nice to know that you were having the same experience, but we never would have brought that up, because it's like,
Right.
hey man, hey, how's it going? Yeah, let's go
Yeah.
play a show. um so yeah, it's just my advice would just be like, get to know yourself, and that's just starting with just looking in and, you know, taking a moment. And that's why meditation is so amazing, because you clear the noise, all of the past, all of the future, all of the things you think about yourself, all of the things you think other people think about you. Everyone's thinking about themselves. Nobody cares about you. That's what I found out. And it's such a great realization in the nicest possible way. Nobody cares.
Yeah, it's true. And I
Everybody
feel like
cares about themselves.
as you get older, you know, like I was actually just talking with my friend yesterday. Um, we were walking at the park and she was saying how like she has this hat that she loves, but like she's in her early 50s now. But, you know, when she was younger, she's like, oh, I would never have worn that. Or I would have been self-conscious wearing one. And she's like, I don't fucking care now. She's like, I like it. I'm fucking wearing it. Like, and no one else gives a shit either what you're wearing, really, or what you're doing, you know? It's just.
You just remind me of a Mark Maron podcast. He was talking about that. He was like, he had this hat that he bought, you know, one of those like Stetson type, you know, hipster hat kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah.
Not Stetson. And he was toying with wearing it for like months. It was just it was there, and he put it on in the mirror, go, yeah, I think I can do this. I think I can do it. And he finally brought up the courage to wear it out on the street, and he's there with his long overcoat, you know, early 90s or late 80s, whatever. And a car pulled up and just said something like, dude, you look like a whatever. And it's like, that's the end of the hat, you know? And, you know, I'll never wear it again.
And he's hat out.
Yeah, it's so true though. But like, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I was never really one for jealousy, thank God. Like, for some reason, it just never was something that I toyed with. Where a lot of friends I had, you know, it'd crop up, and you'd see people getting jealous of other bands that were taking off. And it's really good to observe those things when they come up. So the feelings of jealousy and envy, and then all of these things like, you know, self-consciousness and all this stuff, it's all in the same, seems to be in the same bandwidth. You know, below that, you've got like anger and stuff. But as you grow older, you kind of naturally can grow out of these things where it just seems so ridiculous to feel jealous of someone. But then the more you dive into the spiritual path, or, you know, the path of self-awareness, it becomes really evident that the more you look at the world from like a holistic point of view, like as a whole, like a whole, holistic, I guess, we're all one thing. We're all from one giant ball of dirt and water. And we're just like little mini cells in this big organism, I guess you could call it. And to kind of like think of these thoughts seems ridiculous when you follow that kind of unlayering path.
Right.
Because it's like, if I hate that guy or hate her, kind of hating myself. We're all really one thing. It's like a big debate if you know, pull it apart, you know, and it's, you talk about it for hours, but ultimately that's just the way I feel about it. I don't necessarily think everybody should think like that, but thinking like that for me makes everything just, a lot of these layers just disappear.
Right.
So anger disappeared completely. And I have noticed that I haven't been angry, like, you know, raging for years. Frustration, absolutely. 100%, like fully frustrated, but anger, gone.
Is there anything, if you get frustrated, is there anything that you do or think about that kind of like course corrects you?
Yeah, I listen to my wife going, hey, come on. I go, oh, okay. But the thing is, like, yeah, great question. It's closing the gap. That's what I've learned has worked for me, is I allow myself to feel all these things. And then the self-awareness is like a torch. Hey, dude, look at that. What's that? It's like, oh, that's frustration. What's it about? Oh, it's about something in the past or the future, something that I can't control, or something that I don't need to think about again. So a great example today was, I found out that one of my oldest best friends, who I've been in bands with and we've traveled together and lived together, he's like full on metal. And I'm full on not, you know. I love a bit, I can do a bit, but I'm not full on metal. And like, so I was always really wanting him to really live that dream and go full on metal and crush the metal world, because he's just such a talent. Like,
yeah.
And so anyway, I saw this review, 4 out of 5 on Kerrang. And, you know, we would be in the back of the van going, oh, dude, like one day we'll get in Kerrang and all this sort of stuff.
What is that?
Sorry, it's like the biggest metal magazine you can. It's like a big deal. It's like, you know, I saw it on Instagram, but the thing I was most proud about, apart from being proud of him, obviously, to bring it all back to me.
Oh, sure.
Of course, you know, enough about you. Let's talk about me. Was that I felt pure love and I just felt pure appreciation and what's the word I'm trying to think of? Happiness for him. And it was like, I noticed that straight away. I was like, oh, wow. Like years ago, I would have been fuming inside.
Yeah.
Why him? Why's
Right.
he got this? I can do this. Like, why? Like, not like, oh, he's done a load of work and you haven't, or, you know, like, why not me? Me. And so it's kind of the opposite of what, you know, it's like, wow, when you look at this life on a holistic level, you can look at other people's successes and see them as just a reflection of what you could also achieve, but also how amazing that they've done that. What, like,
Yeah.
it's just, and that is the thing to me that makes me go, oh, this whole path, that's the reward. There's no awards like, you know, oh, he's doing this so amazing. Look how good he is at meditating, or, you know, or yoga, or whatever, you know, it's an inner journey that only you really get to appreciate.
I'm going to put a trophy or a ribbon in the mail to you for being like exquisite at meditating.
Well, I might be full of shit. I might be really bad and just, you know.
No, I'm gonna send you a trophy so you can have a trophy for being good at meditating.
I feel like this is because I told you about that other trophy.
You need a good trophy for
I really do. Yeah,
for
where's my trophy?
your
I put all this time in meditating, you know. But no, the point is what you were saying before is like the self-consciousness, and when it comes back to that, it's if you just keep pulling off the layers, you just all of these things like being self-conscious about like your weight or the way your face looks or your hair or like any of this stuff, it really starts to lessen, and it's just such a joy when all of that stuff just doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my personal block was like my rich kid friends. Like I despise my rich kids friends because they just, you know, oh, they rock up with this new jacket or like a full new equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
Or like a business, hey, you know, there's the money for the business, like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it was always like, how are they doing it?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to resent all that sort of stuff. And yeah, but the more you dive into this stuff, it's just like, wow, how lucky they are. Like, oh.
Well, to an extent, perhaps. Well, not maybe get into the kids who just, you know, take all the family money, but the as far as like, I feel like with jealousy, like something that I am consciously aware of on a regular basis, and as part of like the things, you know, like my like mantra stuff, is that I'm really happy for everyone else who is successful, because sort of like you were saying with it mirroring success that you could have, it also shows like things that are working and things that people are, you know, receptive of, and just the potential that's out there for like all of those people that love that person, they can love you too, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
And
even for this project, I saw there's some other organization who does stuff with mental health and music, and they just started a podcast, and they have a therapist or a psychologist or someone who hosts it. So someone, you know, with a PhD instead of me without a PhD. And I was like, so at first I was like, oh man, like, you know, they're going to be talking to musicians, and this guy's like qualified. And then
yeah,
I realized, no, I'm doing something cool with specific genres. So really targeting like a specific demographic of people. And it shows that the idea is sustainable, you know, that people are ready and need to be talking about, you know, mental health and wellness and in music. So instead of
yeah,
being jealous about it, I was like, no, this is awesome.
yeah. And also like the jealousy, it's let me rephrase what I said. It's not all disappeared. It's disappeared in my mind because I don't let it blossom. I get the feelings like, you know, I'll scan through and maybe for a split second my mind will go, oh my God. And then it quickly goes to like, awesome. And
Yeah.
it's, I guess it's just like, you know, finding where that is in your body, because you always feel it in your body first, and just going, oh, that's that. This is what I naturally think about it. And then, you know, just closing that window of like, you know, when you're younger, you think about these things for months, let them fester,
Yeah.
and not being qualified and all this stuff. This is what stops people doing anything. And I always put it like, you know, who am I to give any advice? Like, you know,
Well, you
when
do have a trophy for meditation.
that is true. And when it comes in the mail, it'll just be there the whole time. But that was a big block for me as well. Like, because,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't go to university and all this stuff, but like, I always just think of it like this, you know, look, unless you're a brain surgeon or something where you actually need specific qualifications, I'm not being super naive here, but when you've got a job, I just look at it like music. Like, I have no qualifications in music, yet I can create a song, and some people like that song.
Yeah.
And if I can replicate that and keep drawing in the people that like it, and don't worry about the people that don't,
Yeah.
that, you know, that works for me. As long as people are getting the right results, it's great.
Yeah. Random question. With your creativity, have you noticed it improve at all since you've started, you know, implementing healthy changes in your life?
um
Or is it just totally gone downhill and you just make total shit now?
yeah, it's really bad.
I have a
It's
cat on me.
oh, that is that your tail? I remember being in a room uh when I was younger, thinking about this exact same thing, and there's like 5 egos in this band that I was in. It was brilliant. It was such a, like, we're all still friends. It's great to think about, like, the singer, you know, we all had our big egos and we're all our own individual person. And creatively, the band was getting very metal and I was getting very not, listening to
Yeah.
Bob Marley and just tapping out. So my creativity was naturally just dissolving in front of my eyes. And I remember thinking, I just need to find out how to find creativity. And of course, all the booze was just numbing me of like, you know, oh, that's me playing like, just, you know, oh, I've got no, woe is me, I've got no creativity. And as soon as I started meditating specifically, it was like a Hoover, just cleaning up all of that noise. So you naturally tune into this limitless well of creativity.
So you opened up more space.
I don't think I opened up anything. I think I cleared what was clouding what is already there. So the Buddhists, you might see some Buddhists chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Really, absolutely love that practice. That feels like a leaf blower, like to your heart, just like, and it just it feels like it's generating happiness. But really, it's just blowing away the leaves. They say polishing the mirror. So it's like,
Yeah.
and you can see it all clearer. And it's like, oh, same with meditation, same with yoga, same with all this stuff. It all does the same stuff, really. It just clears the path. And then when you tune into that kind of creativity, it's limitless. But on the other hand, my guitarist in my band, complete opposite of me. He writes the music, smokes his cigarettes, drinks his coffee. Our diets are the opposite. And his creativity has always just been through the roof.
Interesting.
And so I can't deny that. And the beautiful thing I love about my relationship with him is we are complete opposites, yet we respect each other. Apart from I'll get on the phone and go, have you cleaned your chakras? Are you ready? And I'm always like, yeah, of course. As if I would get on a phone call with you without cleaning my chakras. Like, but yeah, and it works. And he writes 100, we've written maybe 30 songs that we've fully, fleshed out songs that are just stacked. So I think creativity is really just tuning into yourself, knowing how you work, knowing the times of when's best to write music. Like sun comes out, people feel happy, it triggers off a lot of the good stress chemicals, hormones rather.
Yeah.
Naturally you want to start creating things. Winter happens, or you want to just kind of like hibernate and go, I hate the world. Or do you channel that suffering and channel it into something?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a real magical thing when you figure out that you can, almost manipulate these things. You can use this depression and anger and frustration and channel it into music or art or your business. And that's what I love about it. The more you get to know yourself, the more you get to go, oh, okay, I'm pretty angry about politics or whatever. Can I channel that into something rather than being an armchair politician?
And just doing, sitting in it. And I have a question. It's a good one.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's
not to say that the other one's like, oh, finally a good question.
Yeah. What's your favorite quote?
Oh yeah, I know this. I've got two. One is, I got given a book by my dad when I was, I think 15. It was Be Here Now by Ramdas. And I must have read this quote or saying or whatever thousands of times, be here now. And it went over my head for the first 5-10 years, and it came back, and it's turned into this kind of like, it ages like whiskey. I can read this quote now, be here now, and I'm like, oh, I get it. Be here now, and then maybe next year it's like, oh, no, it's this, I get. And it's just, the simple ones really, really are so profound if you stick with them and use them. So that one, and the other one is, if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. And if you're at peace, you're living in the present. And I honestly think that if anybody is struggling with anxiety or depression, mainly, or panic attacks, that quote can show you the way out. I think that quote is one of the most powerful quotes I've ever come across, because it gives you a ticket out.
Yeah.
And it says, hey, all of that depression is coming from you rethinking about the past, as you guys would say, period, full stop. That is a fact. It comes from the past, and your emotions and memories of that kind of bubble up, and you go, oh, and you attach to them, and then down the spiral.
Yeah.
Same on the other side with the future. Anxiety comes from not being present in the now and thinking about the future.
Yeah.
And then, of course, because it's not real, and you can't, your mind becomes a data overload. And then what happens with people with panic attacks and anxiety is you try and outthink the panic attack. And that's it's impossible, because it's game over by that point. As I like to say, it's like, someone said it really great. It's like jumping out of a parachute and shouting for a parachute.
Jumping out of a plane with no parachute.
Sorry. Yeah, no, jumping out of a parachute is what I said. And it's true. It's not going to happen. So the key is, and this is why I love that quote, is the key is to jump into the body at that point and use emotion, use feeling against emotion. That is the only way out. And then if you just tap out of all the thinking mind and tune into the body, let's just break it down to give someone a tip. For example, if you're having a panic attack, or you're overwhelmed or frustrated or anxious, you get caught in this thinking feeling loop, and your breath becomes really short.
Mm-hmm.
So using what we said, use the body, you've got the power of the breath. Just start breathing slowly and deeply and like bypass all of this.
And focus on your breath, or focus like on like a certain part of your body.
Well, yeah, both.
Mm-hmm.
Like focus on either the nostrils or your lower belly or even your chest, and just breathe in and nothing else. No thoughts, just the art of breathing. And naturally, you create this inhospitable environment for a panic attack. And then the whole key is just to keep practicing returning to the now, returning to the breath. Eckhart Tolle, whatever, says, where is the problem now? And that was always a great one. Like, oh yeah, that thing that I'm really pissed off about or stressed out about is up here. And up here is actually just a memory or a future potential.
Right.
It's not
Mm-hmm.
here.
Yeah.
And when and this is it, like you get into this stuff and you're like, okay, that makes sense. And then when you start practicing it, and then you start going, oh wow, I don't get jealous or angry or anything anymore, you start to kind of naturally go, okay, what else has this magical new world got in store? And then you turn into this guy. You don't have to go as far as this, or further still, like the full on, everything is. You just figure out where you want to be on the scale.
Yeah, and it is a scale, and remembering it's a scale,
Mm-hmm.
And every day there's growth, and if you take 2 steps back, that's okay, because you can still turn around and keep going forward.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite quote?
Mine is, actually, I have 2 as well. In the middle of chaos lies opportunity. So that's, that's good for people who are like, solution oriented. Like, it might be fucked up, but let's get something out of it. And then the other one is something to the effect of, everything is okay. Everything is okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end.
Whoa, hang on. Say that again. Everything's okay in the end.
If it's not okay, it's not the end.
Is everything always okay in the end?
I didn't make the quote, but it helps me because if I'm still feeling like upset about something, then I'm like, okay, it's not final. I can keep processing it and resolving it, or it,
I like it. It's like, it comes down to whether you're optimistic or pessimistic. So if you're optimistic, then yeah, it works. Just keep going, because what else have you got? Then keep going. And then if you're pessimistic, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Life is way more difficult if you're pessimistic and circulating in the doom and gloom and victimhood as well, which is, we're all suffering. Some of us way more than other.
Yeah. This can be a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
We've been talking for an hour now. So
wow.
I'm going to honor your time and ask you my final question.
I mean, I've got more if you need it, but it's up to you. I'm cool, man.
We can do another call, because there's just so much more that we could talk about. So
we could talk for days. This is
true. Yeah. And I've already crossed the threshold. I'm holding onto the door handle. I'm about to close the door. So final question.
No, you're done.
Yeah, this is over.
Yeah.
So what have you got going on right now? Do you have any new material or projects coming out? And then where can people find you?
Well, Amy, thanks for asking. And can I just say, before I answer your question, that it was such a delight talking to you. I felt very calm, easy, at home. Oh wait. And I loved all of your questions. That you really have done your research.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Good. I'm glad you do.
As I squirm here on my end. I'll take the compliment.
Which is a hard thing to do. So yeah, started a brand new band called Slowride, and we're at _slowride on Instagram, just starting with one thing, not doing the whole blah, 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 you know. And we're just going to release singles every like 3 months or whatever, and just play the whole thing different this time, being locked down, touring's out the window.
Yeah.
Just, we've got a whole bunch of songs, and we're just going to kind of just keep doing that and then just enjoy the process. So that's really enjoyable. No plans, nothing, just commit to writing and recording and enjoying it. So
no
couldn't
pressure.
be happy with that. Yeah, absolutely no pressure. And then with MindWave, I'm just kind of building the online business. So I've, you know, a YouTube channel at MindWave Meditation, which is super fun. Just me doing lots of this. Hey, you should do this, you know.
But the best part are the birds and squirrels, because you talk in the woods.
Oh, is that the best part? Thanks.
That's the best part. I block you out. I tolerate you so that
just
I can
like
enjoy the nature. Yep.
Yeah, so that's super cool. And I'm just, I've got a mini course which I designed called Dare to Discover. And it's just like, you get like these 6 videos, and it's basically like an ambush of motivation, inspiration, and it helps people kind of just pause for a minute, no matter what's going on in their life, and just taking a moment to dig in, figure out who they are, what they want to do, who they want to be, what they love doing, what they should be doing now, and just kind of putting it in an order, and then bringing it to your attention, and just kind of going, go do it. And it's basically what I did to get me from being a stoner alcoholic on a couch, just bumming about, pretending he was in a band when, you know, barely playing music, to enjoying life and creating things and helping other people do the same. And then I'm just finishing off a book, my first book, to kind of honor my younger dyslexic self, as a kind of like a gift to my younger self, going like, dude, you wrote a book, like everything's okay. Yeah, as cheesy as it is, I think that's the kind of the fire behind that. Like, the thought of ever writing a book when I could barely read and write and suffered massively at school with all of that stuff, is just kind of okay, I wrote a book, you know. And that's just been a labor of love, because it's got all these tips in, and it's
are there pictures in it?
In the middle, you get that middle bit, and then you throw the book away. I'll draw some pictures. Yes. Okay. So that'll be out next year. So yeah, all is good, all is cool.
Far out. Well, cool. Thank you for spending time with me and sharing your personal wisdoms with everybody.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've enjoyed every moment of it. And I look forward to our next chat.
Yeah, right on. All right. Bye.
I got depressed again. I told my best friend. He said I feel